It's the Dead Panda Podcast, and we talk about stuff such as stand-up comedy, improv comedy, and we ask people to share the feelings.
So,
Hello.
how you doing, Nick?
Hey.
I'm good, guys. It's so fucking good to see you. I fucking miss you. I miss comedy so much.
We actually did the Emerson open mic on Wednesday, and it's been a weird year.
We all got COVID.
I wanted to ask what it was like at the open mic. I have some vulnerable people in my life, so I'm still waiting a little bit to get back out there.
Yeah.
But it must have been such a fucking relief to be out there.
Yeah, everybody was pretty polished, and I thought you could see the real excitement. Like everybody was happy to be up there, and that kind of showed through on everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have so much time to think about this. If you have no material, how embarrassing would that be?
Oh, yeah. But
yeah, I did all new stuff, but one of my longer bits just didn't work. I completely fucked it up, but I played a couple new short songs, and it felt really good to be back on stage.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
I did a Zoom show and didn't care for it. It's just
I haven't done them. There's no interaction, right? The whole delay just completely throws it off.
Yeah, the delay makes it really weird. But it's still good. It's still good to I think I've been using it as just a way to say what's up and network and just stay on people's minds and
oh, absolutely. Totally networking right now. It's a good time to do it too.
And I guess I've already I should tell you guys, we've been starting.
Yeah.
We've been recording for a while now. Welcome to the Dead Panda Podcast. I'm Michael. That's Luke. And today with us is our friend and guest, Nik Taro.
Hello.
Yeah,
hello, everybody.
Tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know who Nik Taro is.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I'll start with my relation to you guys. I've been a comedian here in the Reno scene for about 8 years now. And I've just been kind of grinding it, finding my voice before I move on to greener pastures. But I'm seriously ever. I'm resigned to being a poor artist. And I'm kind of enjoying it though right now. There's a lot of liberation in that.
Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit, but I heard the word moving on to greener pastures.
Eventually. I mean, I'm not going to hit it in Reno, so what are you going to do?
Nobody's going to hit anything in Reno.
Exactly.
But I think it can be a good training ground.
Absolutely. I wouldn't change starting out here at all because, you can get away with almost anything, and it's a perfect environment to try anything and actually be able to find your voice, as opposed to finding a 5 minutes that'll work for network TV. You can go straight to finding your voice in a place like this.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of forgiveness and a lot of room for growth in the community. I would say I used some hate speech on Wednesday. I'm still feeling a little guilty about it.
Yeah? Can you repeat it?
I dropped a hard F. I would repeat it, but monetization, sponsorship.
It was in service of a joke, but
you don't have to explain to me, man. I know. I know how it goes.
But I kind of cringed and tensed up.
If people understood irony, they know that would have worked perfectly.
Hey, man, we're all shaking the rust off. Everyone gets a couple passes in my book.
So how did you get into comedy? You said 8 years ago.
So I got into comedy. I was in college at the time, and I was kind of disillusioned. I realized that my majors sucked because the only option I had was becoming a teacher, and it just didn't seem like there was any future for me. And I was listening to podcasts. I was listening to Rogan and Bill Burr and all this stuff. And then I just couldn't get away from feeling that these people are exactly like me. They think like me, they talk like me, and it just kind of clicked. that, you know, I've never been afraid to talk in front of a group of people, and that I should just actually try this. And so, yeah, I just went out and did it. I was actually under 21, so I got kicked out of the bar right after. But yeah, I just knew that, like, there's nothing else for me to do. Like, it was just the perfect thing. Even if I can't make a career out of it right away, it's I don't feel like anything else would be satisfying.
And I guess you also were in a band called the Grimtones. Were you in that before you were a comic, or?
So yeah, that was after I had been doing comedy for probably 4 or 5 years. I kind of go in ebb and flows creatively. Like, sometimes I'm really only focused on music. Sometimes I'm really only focused on comedy. And I think I would go crazy if I had to stick with just one. But yeah, playing with the Grimtones, they're an awesome band. Check them out. Spelled exactly how it sounds. They just released a record that I have some. I'm not with the band, but I have some stuff that's recorded on the album.
Okay, I listened to that a little bit today. I saw it on Spotify.
Yeah, awesome musicians, awesome people. Yeah, I love playing music, but if it came down to it, I'm gonna pick comedy, because comedy, there's way less variables. You kind of just have to show up, and that's your job. Whereas you don't have to worry about gear, you don't have to worry about drunk bandmates, you don't have to worry about any of that nonsense.
Right.
Yeah, what's the most stressful part of being in a band? Like, when I found the recording process to be awful, just because there was so much butting heads. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, that happens in every recording process. I know exactly where you just want to throw your guitar at the wall. I mean, that's probably the most frustrating part, is like, well, no, okay, so I'll say this, like, the most important thing to do with any project is to know what everyone's role is in the songwriting. And if that changes, you have to just address it and everyone be on the same page. Because when you're already in the studio trying to decide how these songs are going to go, and there's no one clear leader or one clear direction, that's where the conflicts really start in bands. So just being on the same page, this person writes the songs, you're kind of a studio musician, just know what your role is, and you can kind of avoid all the pitfalls.
Yeah, I had a similar situation when I was in a body painting group, and like, some people were not on board with like the process of which body part or which body we were painting at a time, and you really do need some it needs direction. Like, if people can't come together to create one vision, how are we going to come together to create any vision?
Well, absolutely. Or if you come in with the mindset that, like, I'm going to write some of the music and I'm going to contribute, and then you're in a position where you're just asked to play the parts that are already written, you know, that just not avoiding those misunderstandings is the whole key.
Yeah. And I guess this brings me into my next question. I'm having a little trouble timing this right now, but my first question for you is, if Luke and I were on the sitcom Scrubs, who's Turk and who's JD?
Oh, I mean, I feel like it's kind of like, you know how sexually you can be a top or a bottom, and it's called a switch? I feel like you guys are both switches in this scenario, because you can antagonize each other in a way, and both, I don't know, I feel like you can both give and take the Turk. So that's kind of a cop-out answer, but yeah, I'm going to say you guys are switches for sure.
It's actually a trick question. I'm the mean doctor. I forget his name.
Oh, what is his name? Perry,
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Trick question there.
Perry Cox.
What are you?
Perry.
What are you, Luke?
In
this
that
trick
show?
question. Yeah.
I feel like I'm more Turk than JD, so I'm gonna have to say Michael's JD.
Yeah.
He's the one with all the weird fantasies and shit. So,
Right.
yeah.
What's the janitor's name? That's probably who I would be.
He doesn't have a name.
Then I'm the janitor. Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, because he always like covered up. He's like, you don't know my name.
Right. Yeah. Oh God.
I think they might have revealed it in the end of season 8, but I don't. But
Wow.
then it turned out he was just like fucking around.
Yeah. Huge plot point. Hey, I don't need to have this mask. I already inhaled all the vapors getting me high. Is it making it hard to hear?
We can hear you well. But
I have to point out one thing. Like,
yeah, what's up?
I've been kind of like cracking up like the eye on your mask, it almost looks like a nose and
Oh, I know. Yeah.
like a bunny or something. And
It's hard to
That's-
write on a mask once it's already unfolded, and especially when you're getting high as you're putting it on your face.
yeah, it just looks like you have a rabbit face right now with the eye if you don't.
Yeah. I just wanted it to say I can't breathe because anyone who's
Yeah.
going to log out, I do it immediately before, we talk about any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll discuss all that in a bit.
For sure.
Like, I didn't want to undercut the message of all that by pointing out the rabbit feature of the mask that
I'm also
can't unnotice.
I'm also breathing on my friend's microphone, so I'm trying to be cautious for that reason.
He uses it quite frequently, or
What's that?
he uses it a lot, or the
Yeah,
microphone?
he's on Zoom and everything all the time with his bandmates across the country, so he's using it pretty frequently.
Who's your roommate?
His name is Jared Klein. He's the best death metal drummer I've ever even heard, let alone met. He plays for a band called Rivers of Nile, Nihil. Definitely check
Okay.
them out. A band called Flub. Yeah.
I know
Good
I've seen posters for them, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's sick. He's out of this world. I don't know how his feet can possibly move that fast when he's doing those blast beats, man. It's insane.
What are his
That's
calves like?
quadruple bass.
Yeah. Let's talk about his calves for a minute. Are they pretty
Yeah.
beefy?
His what?
His calves. It's
Calves?
like does he got some quick calf action going on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a master of that blast beat technique. He actually, I mean, he's kind of thin, but like if you feel his calf muscles, they are rock fucking solid, you know?
They're like a softball back there.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Let's keep him noted for the future,
No.
Luke, in case he ever becomes a father.
Okay, yeah.
Speaking of fathers, I saw you had posted one with your father behind like a keyboard, so he was a musician as well.
Yeah.
Is that where you get the performing bug from? Or?
Well, okay. So let's get vulnerable, guys.
Let's do it.
So yeah, I mean, having a dad who is a musician, there's a lot that comes with that lifestyle. And when you're a kid, you see a lot of the destructive things. And so I definitely seeing that, my dad kind of left the picture when I was like around 8, 9. And I definitely went away from music as a way to get away from him. But as far as like performing, I think, the general chaos in the house was like, it was my way of trying to make things better. That's how I became a performer, was trying to make light of everything bad. And I think that's how most comics start. There's usually some traumatic childhood thing, and you become the fixer, the funny person who tries to make everything better.
That's certainly the case for Luke and his family. They were honkies, right? So they had all these, like, I don't know. What was the deal with your family, Luke? Did they? Which one of your brothers beat you?
That would be my brother Tim, definitely. I got tickle tortured a lot.
Oh no!
He would like get on my chest and go like that. I don't know why that tickled, but it did.
Well, Tim,
And I'm like,
I'm coming for you,
shit.
Tim. I'm going to do it to you.
I almost said like, well, I would say like I can't breathe, and yeah, he would get.
I
off
mean,
of
you
me,
technically
like
couldn't breathe. Yeah.
yeah,
So
like
it's the appropriate usage for sure.
yeah. Okay. But usually people get off. He would get off after I said that,
Like sexually, or?
that too, but in his own room on his own time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
That's a good brother. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Are you an only child or?
No. So I have an older sister. She's technically a half sister. So yeah, I have a half black older sister, and then I'm about 8 years younger. And so yeah, that's kind of the living situation I grew up with.
And which character on any sitcom do you think she's most like?
On any sitcom? Okay, well, let's just use Scrubs. What's fucking Turk's wife? Yeah, she's got an attitude, boy. She will lay it on you. That's definitely her.
I think her name was like Wendy.
No.
Could be. I just remember that attitude, man. That's why I put it on her.
She's very strong, very
Yeah, very
outspoken, yeah.
very strong-willed for sure.
Is Scrubs coming to Netflix at some point, or
It's not on there? I thought it was.
is it? I
I
don't
think
know.
it is. I think it is.
Okay.
At a time like this, we need Scrubs.
Yeah, like we've been rewatching Community, so
Oh, I've been like analyzing Community on like boards and stuff, but I have yet to actually go through and watch it all the way. I'm so excited to do that. I hear it's so great.
Just,
yeah, and
the first, yeah, there's some ups and downs with it.
I hear that, well, the season when Dan Harmon got kicked off went to shit, is what everyone says.
Well, he was only like, and then that whole season, because he got brought back on the same season, and like he had to kind of, he couldn't like throw out all their continuity that they had built up for this, so he had to keep working with it. So it's still considered like the worst one, even then.
Yeah,
like,
they're just backpedaling the whole time. Yeah.
well, that's when I started watching the show. So I have a soft spot in my heart for season 4.
That's how I feel about bands. Like I'm finding all their new albums, and then every time I'm like, "This band's cool." They're like, "You don't know shit. Their old albums are great." That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I like Queens of the Stone Age. You've never heard of Caius? And
You've
then,
never heard of Caius. You never gotten stoned in the desert and taken peyote.
Yeah, exactly. Ah.
So what's your favorite Pokemon, Nick?
I'm a Gen 1 man. I'm gonna make that very clear. I tolerate Gen 2, even a little bit of Gen 3, but I completely lost track after that. Favorite one? Oh, there's a few favorite ones, but I'm gonna go with Gengar for right now. That's my homie. Mischievous. He was super fun in the games. I love using hypnosis. I'm gonna go with Gengar, and he was untouchable for a long time. I couldn't trade with any friends to get it the natural way,
Right.
and so he was like the unattainable fruit, and I love Gengar.
And Luke, of course, likes Garbodor, the pile of garbage Pokemon.
I like Garchomp, the desert shark or whatever.
What generation even is that? I have no idea.
Let's see.
Probably 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
4. Yeah, generation 4. So looking at it.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to go back and check them out. I've got a lot of free time now.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried playing some of the newer games, but yeah, they just weren't challenging like the first couple generations of games were. Those were a
Yeah.
bitch because you kind of had to stick with the same core team. Where like the newer games, it's like you're constantly catching different Pokemon and stuff, and it's I don't know.
Well, they changed what it's about. They kind of infantilized it to keep the young people involved.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty cool that they've been able to keep as many of the old original fans as they have.
Like Michael over here.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I still have Pokemon from my original games as a boy, like 20 years ago, like on my Switch now, on the newest game, like just keeping them.
Whoa.
To the next. Yeah.
That's
What are
awesome.
your favorites that you've caught? Like, what are their nicknames?
Oh, there's Cummy and Gizmo and Slurps and like all sorts of them, and like Hand Banana after the Aqua Teen Hunger Force character. There's tons.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
MC Poopy Pants, yeah.
Yeah. And then just one's called Cunt. And like
Nice. Yeah, I never nicknamed my Pokemon, but I would always nickname my character my dude, because it's always fun when they're like, "What's up, my dude? Here's some Pokeballs." And I always name my rival Daddy, because then it's like rival Daddy challenges you to a battle. It's fucking awesome.
Rival Daddy. I like that as a name for this episode.
Rival Daddy. That's it.
Rival Daddy. Speaking of your dad, what are his calves like?
He's a keyboard player, so he uses a few pedals. But yeah, he's they're not particularly strong. I wouldn't take him in a calf fight for sure.
Well, we're trying to I don't know if we should reveal our secret side project. I mean, we could just keep alluding to it, Luke.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, just if you see any nice men with children that are probably their children, like, and they've got some beefy calves, just like kind of
Oh my! Are you guys starting an OnlyFans right now? What's going on?
It's only calves, but
Only
Yeah.
calves, yeah.
I don't know. We were at this park, and there was this dad with his kids throwing breadcrumbs to the ducks, and he had like these amazing looking, just sculpted calves with like veins just bulging, supplying his calves this
You're
much
blushing,
needed
Luke. Oh my
blood and
God.
oxygen.
it,
I'm so turned on right now.
the hair on his legs looked like wind flowing through like a field of grain, and like it just was.
Oh.
Yeah, do you
Yeah.
remember that scene in Gladiator with Russell Crowe where he's walking through the
Yeah,
grain?
the field of grain. Yeah, the
That,
dream sequence.
yeah,
Yep.
that was his leg hairs, and just it's going to be hard to recapture that magic. But if you
Mm,
got any
Well,
good dad calves, like
definitely, man. You got to chase that dragon. So if I see some people are wearing shorts again, if I see some good calves, I'm sending them your way
yeah.
for sure.
And in the park the other day when we were there, like there was this guy. He had the his baby on his shoulders in a seat, and then yeah, he was working them calves something fierce. Like
Nice.
it was
What
like
a
the calves of Zeus, you know.
That's such a weird place to like isolate. I understand like bench press
Well,
for your
like
chest or like
I
squats for
don't
your
know.
butt, but your
We
cat you want your calves to be
we want to like sexualize men in some way, you know.
that's a hilarious way to do it for sure.
Yeah, it's like, well, women have all these sexual zones, the ass,
Hmm.
the tits, the lips. The guys have nothing. We're just amorphous blobs. We want
We have
something
like
sexy to show off, you know.
we have like the V if we take our shirt off. Some of us have
Yeah,
that, but
you got,
that's like the only thing I could think of.
I got that great cum gutter going on. I got those.
Nice. Oh, to be fair though, I have heard like when you have like veins in your hand or your arm, it's like you're working really hard. That's a real big turn on
oh
apparently.
really?
Yeah, that's a fetish for sure.
Okay.
Hmm. Interesting. So, not to shift gears, but do you guys want to talk about it or?
Uh, yeah,
Uh,
why not?
yeah. So I've spent
What's your mask all about for people in the future who are watching this and they have no
uh,
context?
it simply says I can't breathe. You can do your own research if you somehow don't know the significance of that. But yeah, it's just I don't know. This is a time where I'm not trying to change anyone's mind about anything. I really just want a record of how I felt and what I thought for my kids or whatever to see when they ask about what it was like living in 2020.
Hmm. I mean, do you think this is almost sort of like the 60s in terms of relevance to the
Uh,
culture?
I mean, there's certain similarities, but if you think about how much our culture has changed just since the internet in the 90s, I mean, it's a completely different landscape from there. Yet it is still civil rights issues being addressed, but the entire landscape and the people around it are so completely different from who was, participating in protests back then.
Well, and how the message was actually shared. I mean,
Yeah, and the
everyone has a
actual
video camera.
yeah,
Like,
the evidence of what's happening, everyone can record and document this evidence, and that was never the case before.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time last night just watching live feeds of people getting tear gassed and stuff. Like,
were you
Yeah.
down there at
Yeah,
the
so
protest?
I was thinking about this morning, and like, thank God I've resigned to being a comedian, and there's no ramifications for anything that I say, really. So yeah, I don't mind saying that I was down there last night. To be clear, my purpose for being down there is this: like, the whole point of this is that life is more important than any property or anything. Life is significant on the cop side, on the civilian side. To me, life is the most precious thing. So I want to be there to help someone if it's needed. I couldn't live myself if I could help save someone's life and I didn't choose to do that. So that's my reason for participating. I don't, I don't condemn destruction of property, but I'm certainly not there to do that. And I haven't seen anyone who was actually there to do that. It's really just about honoring the fact that life is important.
Yeah.
it was a very small group of people that were doing it, and they were apprehended quickly. And
Hmm.
from the rest of the night, it was people that were not listening when they were like, "Stay off the street," and they were throwing rocks like I just don't think that broken windows and throwing rocks, that tear gas and flashbangs are an appropriate escalation, like an appropriate response. Who are they keeping safe? Them in their armor? They can't take a
Well,
little bit of rock?
yeah, to that point. So, what I feel like kind of my role as a person with a white skin is to, this is not my cause. This is not my fight. My job is to amplify the voices of people who aren't being heard. And my job is to shield them with my white skin and privilege. That's what I'm there for. And you do see those disproportionate responses for them. Me personally, I was just standing and we were all being peaceful, but they put laser sights on you and they laugh when you run.
Damn.
They literally laugh that they can take your life and there wouldn't be a consequence. And that's as a white person, that's literally the first time in my 3 decades on this earth that I've had a sight on me and had my life
Holy-
at stake. But that's the thing, is like, that's what people live with every single day in every single interaction with law enforcement.
Yeah.
So it feels important to be there.
Well, like, did they actually fire rubber bullets at people?
So I missed most of that part,
That was
especially like the
later,
police
or?
station. The bullet, well, it was in a different section from where I was.
Oh, okay. You were in downtown, or
Yeah, I was in
like
a downtown
the whale,
area,
or?
kind of by the courthouse and the river.
Mhm.
That's where I was. Yeah, and they were just they weren't really taking anything back from protesters. They were just pushing in random directions. So, we're all kind of just congregating peacefully, and then the National Guard shows up and, putting their sights on you and pushing you back, and then the gas happens. I got my first taste of gas. It's something to behold, man.
And there's something I've been thinking about a lot today, and it will be good to get both of your thoughts on it as well. Everybody's saying that this isn't this, like the behaviors, like any of the graffiti, any of the that, like, oh, this isn't us. This isn't that. To me, feels so divisive, and that feels like they missed the point for equality, because that is us. That is
Mhm.
our rage, and that's the feelings of being pent up. Anybody saying that isn't us is completely missing the point of equality. Like, we're all accountable if we're all in it together. So, like, if you think that cleaning up and getting rid of these messages, you think that, oh, you're taking the high road or something, you're just creating more separation. Like, if anything, there should be more anger. And I think personally, there should be I think a few more things could have been broken before anybody started getting tear gas thrown at them.
Well, absolutely. And you look at, what's being broken. I understand the frustration of people who are like afraid for small businesses, but across the country and historically, every single time you see the communities rebuild these businesses and rebuild people's lives, it's always the neighbors who take care of them. It's the insurance companies who refuse to rebuild. And any property can be rebuilt. Any property can be rebuilt, but you can't bring a life back.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think violence and destruction is sometimes necessary for change or social change?
Well, here's what I've been thinking about it is like, when people see the looting and they see the destruction and the chaos, and they have that initial reaction of like anger and that reaction of this isn't the right way to do things, I think like that's important to acknowledge because that's correct, but that's only the first step to understanding why this is important, because we're talking about a social contract here. We all live in a society and we all agree to rules and we all agree that they should protect us. That's what's the basis of a society. But so when you see these people looting, what's making you angry, what's making you feel that is you see them breaking the social contract, right? That's where that comes from. You see them ripping up the rules we've all supposed to agree to. You are right that ripping up the social contract is wrong. It is not the way to get things done. But police officers rip up the social contract every time they abuse somebody. They have completely... Society can't exist if the people who are supposed to uphold it are not bound to it. So, yes, you're right. Ripping up the social contract is wrong. Ask why it's been okay for hundreds of years for them to do it to people of color in this country. You're right. It is wrong. why are we not concerned with these other aspects of society that are not being upheld then? You're literally one step away from being right on the same page as us.
Yeah.
Like what reforms like would need to happen for like the police force to make things right? I mean,
Well,
just
the first
less
step is like,
militarization of them, or I don't know.
that's a whole big can of worms, the
Yeah.
militarization of all this. These are paramilitary operatives dealing with unarmed civilians. Like, this is stuff that our army sold to our police forces. This is actual military grade stuff.
Mhm.
I think this, I mean, as far as solutions, this is a generational thing that we all have to work through and teach our children to keep working through. But I mean, people are asking, why is it escalating? It's like, don't ask that. Ask why they can't charge 4 murderers. The world watched them murder 4 people, and you can't even apprehend them without pressing charges. Like, what does it say that they choose to watch this escalate instead of making an arrest like they would any citizen of any color? Why are they placing these officers above that and allowing destruction to take place?
Cops are just like above the law, it seems, and they look out for their own kind. Like,
And it's being exposed, and
yeah,
it's like, it's it shows where their priorities are 100%. And it's like, it's such a simple gesture to stop I mean, we still have to continue the conversation, but that would stop the madness in essence. And for some reason, they just refuse to do it.
now did you see the video of the cop and the sheriff in Flint, Michigan, who like
I did see
basically
that, yeah.
apologized, and then he's like, let's go marching together, and then they put down their weapons and like marched with the
Uh-huh.
BLM protesters. Like,
I
is
did.
that the right way to start to make amends?
I mean,
Or,
I'm not the one who decides all of what's right and
yeah,
wrong. It's encouraging. Like, it's encouraging to see those steps, but at the same time, that's in Flint, Michigan, where
yeah,
people are still poisoned. Like, the
Yeah.
hypocrisy of him pretending to care about the people when Flint is oppressed generationally. Like, there's a little bit of weirdness. So yes, that gesture is good. That is kind of a good step, but look a little bit deeper. Like, can you really convince yourself that he cares that much about the community, or is he just afraid of the destruction? Because there's no evidence that anyone cares about Flint, as far as I've seen.
Yeah, what have they been doing? So their water's still fucked up. Yeah, there's like
Exactly, you know, fuck.
but it is encouraging because it's not just places. I was looking at just places all over this morning where the towns where the protests are being allowed to happen, where cops are with the protesters, where everybody's unified. Those places aren't. Nothing's getting broken there.
Hmm.
There when it is divisive, when there are lines being drawn, very like clear ones. That's when you're just building a powder keg. And
Well, and I mean, I'm not saying that every police force is using this tactic, but you're seeing clear evidence that protesters are being baited. Like, I don't know if you've seen all the things of like random piles of bricks just on the streets, and it's no
yeah,
one's asking who left those there. Why no one's just dropping off bricks in the middle of a protest? So ask why they're there. Like, even last night, as we were walking across the street from the courthouse, this whole police presence that was right up in front of the courthouse, trying to tell us to fuck off, they all left. They all tried to bait us into attacking the courthouse. Like, there's very clear tactics of inciting things from the protesters.
mhm.
absolutely. Yeah, that's insane. Because
I
like
mean,
there's been report like that. I forget which city it is, but the cop that got filmed smashing the windows of the AutoZone and inciting
Yeah,
destruction.
absolutely. And his wife or his girlfriend called him out on it. It's beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I went to like a march against Monsanto one year, and it was like a peaceful march in front of Monsanto in St. Louis. Uh, yeah, and then they had speakers and stuff. And then the next year, like there were all these like fucking anarchy people just said fuck Monsanto, fuck this, and then like the video cameras from the news were like trained right on these people,
Hmm.
and yeah, they took everything away from the message. So like people think that they were hired by Monsanto to be the protesters.
The provocateurs, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's a reality of it. This isn't just two sides going at it. There are chaotic agents on the outside who just want to spark shit up, and there's no way around that, unfortunately.
It's insane. And with that, I think now would be a good time
We
to
got remaining meeting time 4 minutes.
let's take a
Mhm.
break here and then start this up again.
Okay.
All right.
I'm 16 years old. I was born in 2003. So, yeah, you're all fucking old. Yeah, no, I was born in 2003. So I'm the reincarnation of the first Iraqi child that we killed under false pretenses.
The election ended, it seemed like. I'm glad I haven't heard about that in a minute. I don't like vote, so I don't think I'm gonna get real political. I just building up to it. I thought Elizabeth Warren was really funny because you would think there'd be a big feminist rally behind her, get a female in the White House, and there just didn't seem to be. And my theory on why that happened is all the feminists found out she's a Scorpio or something. And they were like, that two-faced bitch, I knew something was up with her.
All right, you guys, look at this crowd. Guys, you're here. We're out. We did it. We made it through. We did it. Come on, make some noise. We did it. We should fuck. And I'm talking really fuck. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying we do ass to mouth. Let's make a human centipede here. And I'm gonna be the caboose. And ever since I became vegan, that's the closest thing to meat I'm gonna get.
Do I got time for one more or no?
Do it.
It's yeah, fuck it. Yeah, everyone's telling jokes about coronavirus, but there aren't too many songs about coronavirus, so this is another quarantine song. This is the quarantine song, so probably share similarities with the other quarantine songs out there. What do I miss most? Was other folks being so close that I can smell them. I want a nosy nuzzle, want a football huddle, high five or cuddle, a pretty boy. Hey homie, can we cuddle? Two bros without t-shirts. I don't have the disease. This cough is just allergies. I'll be a big spoon or a little spoon. I don't care, I'll be a fork or knife or any silverware. I need the oxytocin flowing through my bloodstream. Skin to skin contact. Tell me if you feel me. Oh, oh, touch me, caress me, undress me, then give me a handshake. Trust me, caress me, undress me, then give me a handshake. This is a quarantine song, so probably shared similarities with the other quarantine songs out there. Thank you guys.
Bitch, Luke.
What
We
did
gotta
I
wait.
do?
Well, we have to wait for Nick's audio.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. Okay, and now we're back.
And we're back. Okay.
Okay, where were we? Everything's great, right?
Yeah.
Luke wanted to lighten up the mood, but I think we should darken
Well,
the mood.
I'm
okay.
down for whatever. I mean, I've been thinking about this stuff nonstop. So if there's a specific question, that'll keep me from rambling. But I mean, we don't have to talk. This is not. I know a lot of people are really gloomy right now, but Rome is still a city, and the pasta is still really good. We will have it tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Well, I guess with that being said, what did you hear about the monkey stealing the COVID-19 samples and running off with it?
It's one of those things where you have to double check. Is this the Hard Times? Is this the Onion? It does not seem real at all. And it's But it has to be, because you would come up with a less ridiculous story to come up with a lie, right? Wouldn't you? I would think it has to be real because it's so ridiculous and stupid.
It sounds so lampoonish. Yeah, it sounds,
Yeah, exactly, dude. A monkey? Really? Is it a macaque? Is that? I bet it is, because that's
They like
perfect for the
stealing
script.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, where did it go? How did it get out?
it attacked one of the like literally it was two monkeys, a mother and a baby, and then it attacked the scientists and grabbed samples and ran out the just. Did they have the
Like, why
door
is the door open? Yeah, exactly. Is there not another door in this building?
Yeah,
Why is there no locks on these doors where there's precious medical samples? Like,
yeah, this is how this happened in the first place.
unbelievable, man.
I mean, monkeys steal children. I've seen one just like dragging one down the sidewalk, and
Seen that
everyone's
video.
pretty chill about it. Oh, monkey's taking my kid again. It's fine.
I
Better-
can't imagine what that kid did to deserve it.
It probably just was like, oh, hug, like, oh, monkey, great. No, monkey. Yeah. You know what? The kid had it coming. Fuck that kid.
Yeah, it's also weird. Like, that's such a bizarre story, but with everything going on, it's like that barely registers. That's like water on feathers. I don't have time to even think about that. You know?
So, what do you think? Do you think if there is a grand finale for this year, what do you think it'll be?
I think the aliens come. That's what I would hope for the cherry on top to be. I think that would be sick to actually, without a doubt, know that they exist and they are here. I think that would be cool.
Well, I think like some politicians will like take off their human mask and they're like
Yeah, dude.
lizards or grays or something.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it-
Kane and Kodos and The Simpsons, you know?
I
Yeah.
don't think Trump is an alien now. I think he's very much human.
Yeah, his folly definitely shows that he's human for sure, to a fault.
I forgot that they like showed videos of UFOs and stuff like that. Is like on the low end of the spectrum of this year of like not even interesting. You're like, oh great, like,
Doesn't even hit the radar, dude.
yeah.
Incredible.
Tom DeLonge revealed aliens are real. Everyone's like,
Him of all people too, man. It's just like the simulation is really falling apart. They're getting sloppy.
oh god.
So
So
alien
on a
Luke.
scale of
Oh, go ahead.
1 to 10, how badass is my mask?
Let me see.
Yeah,
I can't.
BB-8 Star Wars.
Oh, how badass is it?
Yeah, how
It's
badass.
I'm gonna give it a 7 because it's
Oh,
not badass inherently, but the confidence to wear that definitely brings it up on the scale. Give it a 7.
It's the only one I have, so
He
My
stole that
girlfriend
from
got
a
it.
kid.
yeah.
Fuck. And I don't know what else to talk about. I guess I just want to say that before the break, we were getting heavy, and I just wanted to make it clear that I don't want anybody to feel like I'm speaking for them. It's not my place to understand how people are feeling, but I do want anybody listening to know that I'm trying to empathize with them. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I think that's like, regardless of what action you choose to take, that's on your own moral accountability. But it's just like, just have words to stand by. Just have something to stand by, and don't sit this one out, no matter what. That's the only important thing in my mind.
Are you almost like complicit with the injustice if you don't speak up at all, or?
Potentially. I don't think that's always the case. Like, people have to have the opportunity to change their minds. That's just what it is. You have to give them the chance to see things in a different way. So I'm never quick to dismiss people quite like that. Like, there are children who don't have another perspective. It's just unfortunate that they see things the way they do, but like, I'm not going to blame someone. I won't argue either. I'll try to clarify, and if I can't change your mind, that's fine. But like, I'm presenting you with information that I think is 100% true.
Yeah, I feel like people are so set in their ways these days into like two different camps that it's people like have these blinders on. They can't even see the other side of the story. Like, it's unfortunate that we can't even have a dialogue without all these.
Well, and people don't care to see it for themselves. Like, it's fascinating that people we know that we're insulated with our own opinions on social media. Everyone, I think, knows that. Usually they only point at the other side doing that. But, like, go out there and see what people are doing, because people are literally only out there trying to protect each other's lives. And if you go out there and you interact with the people, it will really warm your heart 100%.
Yeah, I wonder, is there a certain page to follow in Reno for future marches or protests?
I know there's a Reno Black Lives Matter page, but I mean, I can't imagine that unless you're like totally against this and you segregated yourself from people on social media, you're gonna see what's happening. But if you don't know what's happening in Reno, it's just downtown every day. That's just what it is. I mean, right now people are cleaning up, and that's awesome. But just go downtown, because it's not gonna stop anytime soon.
Well, shit. Should we lighten this up with like, you got any stories about bad open mics or anything, Nick?
Bad open mics. I've never had a bad set in my life. Let's see. Trying to think bad open mic story. Oh, well, okay. Well, this wasn't actually the set, but one thing that was like a pain in the ass comedy experience. So one of the last shows that I did, there were a bunch of comics in town from the Santa Cruz and Bay Area and stuff, and they were all cool dudes. The show went well, but we all went out drinking and doing karaoke after, which is common practice. And one of the dudes, he had a little too much of everything, particularly LSD, before we went out. And so this dude, he's no offense to him, but he's a very privileged person from Santa Cruz, and I kind of had to babysit. So you can imagine being in like West 2nd Street bar, downtown Reno. I'm trying to say this little Jewish man tripping his fucking balls off from grabbing some woman's tits because he doesn't know he's in real life, and like saving him from getting his ass kicked over and over. Like, comedians definitely overstep their bounds, and it's not fun to babysit a road comic. It's not.
No, it isn't. I always I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta get home. My wife wants me home. I'm not married. I have a fiance, but I'm not married, and she doesn't want me home. But I'm like, gotta get out. I always try to get out of that as well.
Any excuse, dude. It's like, I don't know. I've embraced isolation quite a bit. I'm not looking forward to being around people that much. I'm looking forward to being around you guys and staying the fuck away from everybody else. That's pretty much what I want.
That's how Wednesday was. Honestly, like we did it. There was a crowd there, great, but like we were just like, oh my god, you're here.
Yeah, it was so good to like talk to people in person, like Austin Bacchus, Stephen Dente.
Yeah, I ran
Brandon
into
Staker, all those guys.
I ran into Cameron Shirey. He's one of the few people I saw during the lockdown, and it was like I had been starved for conversations with a comedian, and it was just like, we were trying to distance, but we had to hug each other. It was just like, oh my God, someone understands why I'm going so crazy right now.
It is weird that's crazy. Yeah, this is something that we're all feeling and dealing with at the same way, but it's not in the front of your brain. Like, it just feels like something's missing until you see the other people. And normally, like, you'll go and watch your friends do their set 100 times, and their jokes, and you're just kind of like sitting there waiting for your turn and like being supportive. But like, it was definitely different. Like, I was happy to like let everybody else know it's okay to laugh and show everybody. It felt good to really support and be out, and like, it is special.
It's community, man. So it's like, we can take it for granted and kind of forget about that and be worried about our own material and our own stuff. But it's like, when it's taken away from you, you realize how fucking cool it is to have a community of like-minded people all supporting each other.
And has the Reno scene like changed dramatically in the 8 years since you've been a part of it?
Not too much. No. We lost our Cheers bar. We lost our flagship bar in 3rd Street. And Laugh Factory is here now, but they're only just now starting to let local comics in. Hopefully that'll continue when they open clubs back up. But Pioneer, I don't need to drone on how Pioneers work because it's always worked that way. You know what that is.
We're all fans from Pioneer. It's fine.
Yeah, I honestly, the longer I'm here, the more I feel like it is kind of what it has always been. But at the same time, we have technology, so we probably do have a lot more opportunity to make this a bigger thing than previous comedy generations in Reno have.
Yeah, and how did you come to be in charge of the library open mic after Nick Jostin?
That was just a matter of, Nick was ready to step down, and I really was willing to do it because I love hosting. I wanted the experience just to kind of diversify myself, force myself to write new stuff every week that I would have to do. But I really enjoy the pressure of having 5 seconds in between comics to like say the perfect thing. I think that's such a cool way to work on your craft. So that's really why I wanted to do it, was to just put myself in those. It's not always fun hosting, but the pressure definitely makes you a better comic, and I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, hosting the Blind Onion open mics with Luke every now and then is like definitely made me step up my game. And
And I've noticed since I started hosting his mic, I feel like he's gotten a lot more confident and a lot better.
That's the only way to do it too, is like you have to fall on your face so many times, but you'll get it. It's but yeah, it's really the pressure of hosting is my favorite part. It's just a heightened version of being a comedian in any sense. You just feel that pressure a little bit longer. It's not once before your 5-minute spot, it's the whole night.
The last open mic we did at the Blind Onion was a blast because I was late and I was hosting it, and like Will Zim, he held the door open and stuff, and it was kind of like an introduction because everybody was like happy when I showed up, and I just went straight, like I hung up my phone. I was like, oh, I gotta go do this, and like it looked really cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, fucking, you could do this in your sleep, man. Yeah. Oh, can I ask you, what's the craziest thing, the silliest thing that's happened at the Blind Onion open mic for you guys?
Fast Eddie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So
What was
that's
that?
Fast Eddie. It's Joey Sorgani's dad. Joey wasn't even there, but yeah, within the first, he talks like Macho Man Randy Savage, kind of.
Yeah, he got a really gruff voice.
And he said he dropped a hard F like 2 times within the first minutes, and
Wow.
he just kept going on, even though we were lighting him and didn't get off stage. And it was awful.
It was
and then
great.
he kept interrupting like everyone else's sets, but we were all roasting him. So
yeah, it was fucking learning. Anybody that hasn't dealt with like an outspoken, like, because I don't want to call him a heckler because he was just trying to be involved and have fun, but it was technically heckling. I was saying.
Yeah, and he doesn't know that he's ruining the show. He thinks he's helping it for some reason.
Yeah, like you got to see people that weren't used to it try to like acknowledge and get it and like fail, and like some people got to do like their best joke was riffing off of him and stuff, and that was so far our craziest one. But,
that's cool. Go on, Luke. Sorry.
Oh, that was like Will Contine's first ever mic there, and he's just like, "Why are you talking to me?" He's like a brand new comic and doesn't understand this concept of some asshole like talking to you while you're trying to tell jokes.
Yeah. Oh god, it's a mess. But the thing is, like, open mics are shit shows no matter what. There's no way around that. What I really have come to appreciate is that the worse things get, like the digger hole people dig for themselves, like that's the tension, and it creates the opportunity for a big release. Like, so it's actually the worse the open mic is going, your job as a host, you can turn it around that much more because it's giving you that much ammunition by how uncomfortable everyone in the room is. You simply just have to address how uncomfortable it is and you will get a laugh. It's that easy.
Yeah, you're on. Yeah, like the audience knows, like, oh yeah, you're on their side, and like you guys are together. So it really is I've found the best way to have the crowd on your side with minimal effort. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So do you know much about what's the status of the library bar? Because I had heard they were going to have an open mic, but they might have gotten shut down.
So what I've heard was, they were just trying to figure out what the phases are going to be for Reno businesses reopening. And that was kind of unclear. I know some people wanted to organize a mic as soon as possible. But yeah, they're still just dealing with the city stuff. So everything's just kind of on hold for the time being. I don't know about the licensing stuff. It's all up in the air until every business is open, and bars will be the last ones, of course,
Yeah, and Blind Onion and Reno Improv are two venues. Have no immediate plans of like opening up. Like Blind Onion could be open, but they aren't to the public. They're just in carry out
Right.
and delivery.
Yeah, every business is going to want to do it their own way too. It's so we'll just kind of have to see. For me personally, I'm just trying to take advantage of not having to constantly think about comedy.
Yeah.
Obviously there's social stuff going on, but like learning how to write scripts, working on music, it's really been nice to just focus on other stuff.
What kind of scripts are you penning right now?
There's a couple different ones. I have a couple show ideas. Like one is an animated show with some, I don't want to give too much away, but like, yeah, I'm not going to give anything away.
Yeah,
Just like,
that's fine.
so I'm like in the process of learning how to write different types of scripts. So for different
Okay.
genres, different formats, I'm really just like, I'm saving the good stories that I actually have and writing out shit stories so I can understand the structure and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
in that whole process right now.
I mean, if anything, it's just practice to hone your craft of writing.
Absolutely,
and then
yeah.
At some point, you'll have something that's like, oh, holy shit, I could sell this script or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be a comedian, there's no point in not trying to write a script. Regardless of what you want to do, it will help you to say, like, I've written a script. That'll help you get so many jobs,
Having one voice credit on one obscure video game, you just say, like, that's a credit, or like, yeah.
Totally, yeah. Or just to show that you have the discipline to make a script. It says a lot about a comedian,
Yeah, I've written like some plays and stuff, but nothing like, I've never tried writing anything TV related. But
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting, but it's also kind of depressing because it's such a long shot, But I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying just like structuring and outlining stories. I love telling stories. So.
Yeah, me too. I would like to, like, because I think that a common denominator for anybody that gets up and tells a mic is that they've got something they want to say. And storytelling is like one of the first things that happened when we stopped living in caves and started living in houses. Like, that's one of the ways we did it. Like, was from story. It's like it's ingrained into our DNA. And so I guess my last question before we get you going, like, what are the stories you want to tell?
Well, so they say like write what you know. So a lot of the ideas that I'm feeling really good about involve music in some way. It's a world that I understand. Like there's one show that's kind of comedic and some of the characters, they're musicians in a band, so you get to see what it's like, shitting your pants on the road because you eat nothing but Taco Bell. Like I understand that world, and so music has, whether it's like there's like a horror script that has a musical component, there's a comedy sketch that has a musical component. That's like kind of a through line that I've noticed in all these things that I'm starting to write.
What about you, Luke? What's your story?
What story do I want to tell? I don't know. Just maybe to not take things too seriously. That's all.
Yeah, I don't worry about the message. I just want it to be crafted well. I love the craft. The message is kind of an afterthought. Just like the art of structuring something really well is what's cool to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Harmon fan. Yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, with that, let's see. What else? Nick, tell us where we can find you and what's the best way to, like, if anybody wants to look you up, how do they get to you?
Do you know when this is going up? Because I might have some stand up on YouTube by that time.
This
we can
like,
wait
if,
a couple
if
days.
Not, yeah, if not today, like tomorrow or the next day, yeah, we can.
Okay. Well, so I would say just look me up on Facebook because everything makes its way over there. My name's spelled Niktaro. You can find my links to my Instagram and all that. The YouTube, it'll all be on there. Just you know how to find people on social media. You know my name. Yeah.
And then, you how many tits do you think you've seen in your life?
Um, is it shameful that I can like actually think about how many? There's so few that I can probably count them.
I'm from Winnemucca, so that's the reason I've seen an odd number of breasts. So you're fine, man.
Okay, I'm gonna say female breasts. I've probably seen upwards of 12. Yeah, I know.
Brag
I'm a
about her.
regular stud over here. No, probably 24 pairs of tits in real life.
So, let's see. So probably about 48, 49 boobs. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't want to see some of them, but yeah, it was good.
Oh, those are the best. Yeah,
Those are actually, yeah, like, you know, going to concerts and stuff when I'm a kid, like, I would go to, like, blues festivals with my parents, and there's always some old lady who, like, lifts up her shirt and then has to, like, take one hand and then lift up her titties, too. It's incredible.
And those tits, I like those tits. There's a story behind them. Like, how'd they get that scar on there? Like, what's that
Bro, yeah, those tits have lived a tough life, let me tell you.
That's from this time I was opening a bottle of wine and the screw got away from me.
They're just like, looking all chewed up and stuff. Ugh. We went from being really heavy to being really ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought that was a good way to go. But anyway, thank you very much for being on with us this week, Nick. I think that it's been a crazy weekend, and I think you were the perfect person to talk to about it. So.
Can we see your beautiful face for like 2 seconds?
Yeah. I'll show you guys my face.
Okay.
I also probably have to
you got a tie one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip it off. Hold on. Woo. Hello, guys.
So it's weird to wave at you now, but all right.
I appreciate you having me on here. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you.
Yeah, take it easy, man. Be safe, be well.
Bye-bye.